edition of Annie, Shelly, and Jane Work You Out.
Woohoo! Yeah!
Today's focus is all core, so as many of you probably know, I'm out. I'm not going to do any of it, but Annie and Jane are going to be amazing leaders and demonstrators here. We are going to do 3 rounds. It's going to be super fun. We're going to do everything with med balls. So if you don't have a med ball at home, don't freak out. You can always check down below in the description. We'll link some med ball options down there if you want to get one for the future. But you can always substitute whatever resistance you have, like a weight or a kettlebell. Resistance bands, probably not going to work, but you can do this whole workout body weight and be completely fine. So we've got a plethora of different med balls here. We've got a 10, a 12, and 2 6s. So the ideal weight for you is going to be probably somewhere between a 5 and a 10. There's one exercise that's really tricky with the heavier weight, and it's the one we're going to start off with. So that might be something that you decide to do body weight if you only have a 10-pound one. That's also totally fine. But 5 exercises, 3 rounds, in a pyramid format. So that middle round's going to have the most amount of reps, and we're going to have the most amount of fun. At least they are, and you are. All right, guys, let's get started. Here we go, guys. We've got round 1. First exercise is a figure 8 and press. So all that means is that you are making a figure 8 between your legs, going under and over both, and up into a press. This is the exercise that can be really difficult without a smaller sized or lighter weight ball. Options for modifications, Jane will show you, and she's actually going to rest her heels on the ground, and she'll just alternate lifting them up when she passes the ball under that leg. So just a little bit easier on your core and your low back. Also easier to pass that ball through. A little bit more stable. So we're in 10 reps here.
10.
All right, so now we're going to go to a plank to a cross lift. So Annie's going to plank on top of her med ball, and Jane's going to do the plank on the ground. This is your modification here. Don't be on the med ball if you're unsteady or unsure. We're taking our knee to opposite elbow and then lifting our leg up towards the sky. Very important, if you look at Annie here on that lifting portion, that you don't see any movement in that mid-back. We're looking for a nice flat line or natural curve that you may have in your spine. We're just making sure that when that leg lifts, we're not going into extension. And this here, guys, is 10 on each side. So when you see Jane is taking another approach and Jane is staying all on one leg before alternating to the other side, which is completely fine. A little bit easier to do it this way when you're not on the med ball. But you'll notice her as well, she's keeping a nice neutral back without a lot of extension happening. Okay, so now we're on to single leg raise and a toe touch. So Annie will again be doing the addition without a modification, so she has her leg up in the air. Jane, on the other hand, has her non-moving leg down on the ground. So if you have any issue with your low back bothering you or not being able to hold that leg up, maybe your hip is bothering you or your quad is, you raise your leg up higher like Annie's got it right here. If that's easy, you just lower it closer to the ground to make it harder. Work whatever is appropriate for you. If these are not enough of a modification option, you're actually going to tuck your knee in every time versus pulling a straight leg, which Jane will show you here. Tucking it in as you crunch towards that knee as well. Again, pick whatever feels most comfortable for you. Important to note that's different from other exercises we've done. The ball does not need to go overhead. All right, we're saving just a few seconds of time and a little bit of load on the body, but that is because that opposite foot is staying up. And I want to make it harder for Annie. Okay, guys, so this is a rough combination back to back. You're going to a V-sit, tuck, and a twist. So we're going to hold that med ball or weight or resistance at our chest. You're going to open up, tuck back in, and then try to touch that ball down to the floor on each side. So you'll see that Annie's got the full version going on right here. Jane's resting every time at the bottom, putting those feet down. You can also leave those feet down if that's helpful. You can also tuck in single leg. if that is helpful versus tucking both knees up every time. You have to figure out what feels best for you. So we're counting those tucks and we're only doing 10 tucks here. Good work. All right, plank, walk over and push up. This is probably the most complex exercise. So you'll see Jane doing it modified first, and you'll see Annie doing it right away with the ball. So in Annie's case, she's stepping onto the ball, over to the other side, and doing a push-up on the other side. In Jane's case, she is taking the same amount of steps, going onto the ball, off of the ball, and then doing a push-up. Jane is also from her knees right now. You can do either version of these modifications. So Jane can stay on her knees and incorporate the ball back into it.
Oh shoot, sorry.
Going across in the other direction to increase a little bit of difficulty of the exercise. But this is 10 reps total, or if you're counting one part of the exercise, it would be the push-up portion.
Where are you at? Was that 10? Let's do 2 more.
All they have to do is count,
I
guys,
know. I was dying.
and suffer through this workout. All right, so again, like I said, that's probably the hardest round or hardest exercise within each round. So gear yourself up for that mentally and find the right modification. 1 round down, 2 more to go. We're starting off here again with round 2. So we've got our figure 8 and press. Remember that this is one of the harder exercises to do, given the size of the medicine ball. So you've got Jane with a smaller medicine ball, makes it a little bit easier. Remember, you can always use a free weight, or you can just mimic the movements, which can also make it a little bit easier. Jane's got a nice modification here, lifting up those feet from the ground so that she has a little bit of anchor at some times, and Annie's going balls to the wall here, no modifications needed for the former D1 athlete right out of college. She should be killing us all. So this round, you're probably like, why is this taking so long? I didn't tell you, it goes to 15 reps. So slight increase in this round, but we come right back down next round. So we're just doing a short and small pyramid. All right, we're going to our plank next. Up in a plank, we're going elbow to opposite knee, and then lifting up. Your choice if you want to be on top of the med ball, and your choice if you find it easier to alternate or to stay on the same side. Whatever you would like to do. Either way, it's 15 aside. Remember that we're keeping our core super tight. We're not allowing any flexion, or extension in our back every time we lift that leg up. We're focusing on squeezing our glutes to lift that leg up so that we don't arch in our low back. We're staying super strong through our shoulders, trying to push the ground or the med ball away from us. And the girls are doing a really great job of keeping their eyesight straight down, keeping a nice neutral neck in this situation. And they're just cranking out these reps, 15 on each side.
15.
If you have any wrist pain, she was going a lot faster than
Yeah,
that.
I got like 10 more.
Yeah. We'll let Jane, we'll let Jane finish up. If you guys have any wrist pain or if this is difficult, remember you can always either go to your forearms or elevate your upper body. So put your body up onto a bench, a box, or a couch or a chair or something to decrease that angle. All right, so I guess that's what I get for calling her out as a D1 athlete, because then she went into hyperspeed. So
I'm a little sensitive to that.
I know, she was like, I'll show you. All right, onto our back. This is our single leg raise and toe touch. So we gave a lot of modification options in the last round, guys. You have to pick whatever is best for you. So Jane's taking the biggest modification for you guys to see here, which is leaving one foot completely on the ground the whole time. The next step would be bending the knee versus keeping it straight. You see Annie's modification, her knee is slightly bent, which is perfect, deloads just a little bit, and it's also not quite down, completely close to the floor. This is a very challenging exercise. It's very tiring, hips, total core. It is okay to take the modification. especially as we go up in reps this round. We have 15 reps this time on each leg. So the other modification that we haven't talked about is to not use the weight at all. So get rid of that med ball and just use your arms reaching up to that leg every time. It's still going to put a huge load in your core.
5 more.
I think I'll be excited when I can do 4 again.
Oh yeah.
I would switch places if I could.
So maybe once I'm done with this pregnancy, I'll let Jane talk the whole time, and Andy and I will do the core.
Okay, that'd be fun.
Oh yeah.
I'll just be here.
So we're gonna do tuck and twist here, guys. So remember the modification that Jane is using is keeping her feet down and that nice rest at the bottom each time. Another modification for that is to get rid of the medicine ball. And another modification is if you want to tuck your feet underneath something. So if you're sitting on a bench, you can tuck your feet under the sides of the bench. If you're facing or near a couch, you can tuck your feet underneath your couch. And if you're looking for the full go, take a look here at Annie, working that nice full tuck out to in, and a big, beautiful range of motion on that rotation to both sides. And also using a 10-pound med ball for the win. We should all ask Annie tomorrow how her core feels.
I know the answer.
15 reps total, guys.
2 more, Annie.
2 more, 1 more now.
Oh! Core gave out on me in the last one.
The good news is, that one's over. Bad news is, we've got the most technical one coming up next. So a few things to remind you of. We're walking over the ball. Either hands are touching the ball or we are just stepping over the ball every single time. Up to you. Or if you don't have the ball at all, you just need to be taking the same amount of steps. So you can go from your knees at any point, or you can modify only part of it. So Jane is choosing to modify part by not stepping on the ball, but doing a full push-up. That's great. You've got Annie here, stepping onto the ball every single time, doing a great job controlling that core and that huge amount of shoulder stability that's involved when you go up onto the ball. It's very advanced, so no guilty feelings about not doing it. It's very hard, especially at the end when you're already tired, okay? The other thing we're looking at here is what's going on at the base, right? So what's going on at their support system at their feet. If you're struggling a little bit, widen those feet out. And because you know me,
10-ish.
No. Oh, I was at 13.
Okay, good.
we are going all the way to 15 reps here, guys. Nice and easy.
Holy man. 2 more.
Annie's got 2 more. She's got the hardest version. So if you guys didn't do the hardest version, you get a little break. Oh, we're all done. So that is round 2. Good news is that's the hardest round, it's the most amount of reps. So we're gonna come back here for round 3, and we are going to crush this, but back in reps of 10. So grab a little bit of water, and we'll get going again. Round 3, guys. We are here. We are finishing this workout nice and strong. 10 reps only, starting out with figure 8 and press. So hopefully you guys remember whatever modification that you like best. Either keeping those legs up the whole time or finding opportunities to rest them down on the ground. If your back is getting tight, I urge you to put the ball down entirely and to rest your hands behind you. Focus on crunching your core and just hold the V-sit position while we do this exercise. If that still doesn't cut it, stop. Good job. So plank to a cross lift. Same thing here. If you're getting tired and your back is starting to bother you, consider not being on the med ball anymore like Andy is up. Choose the ground like Jane is doing. Maybe skip the leg raise portion. If your back is bothering you, you may not be keeping your core tight enough and you may be extending in your low back. You can always just hold that plank position, or you can do the cross climber portion and just keep working, or double your reps, right? Whatever works better, but this is 10 aside. You should not feel back pain when doing core. If you feel back pain, it's a bad thing. You need to stop.
10.
Speedy Gonzalez over here.
I like going back down to 10 reps.
It's nicer, it goes a little faster.
Oh, yeah.
Single leg raise and toe touch. So again, this might be an exercise you don't want to use weight on any longer, or maybe you just want to use a lighter amount of weight. And remember, tons of modifications here. Jane's starting out with one of the best ones that you can do, which is keeping that opposite leg flat on the ground to give your leg and core on that side a little bit more of a break and rest versus Annie, who's got it elevated the whole time. But again, can completely be done without any weight as well, which will help decrease the difficulty of it enough to hopefully keep that workload in the core and to not only feel your hips. If you do feel your hips a lot, that's completely fine, as long as we're feeling a little bit of core with it too. If you're getting all hips, maybe consider going to that bent knee, tucking your knee in each time versus a straight leg swing. But if you do feel a lot of hips, it probably has to do with maybe some weak hips and you need to do some more hip flexion based exercises.
2 more.
Crushing it, Annie,
Thank
crushing
you,
it.
everyone.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay guys, so this is, again, the hard transition because we're staying into we're keeping a good hip load going on here, going to a V-sit, tuck, and twist. Count the tucks, and we're doing 10 of them. So again, no modification. Here's Annie keeping those feet up the entire time. And for some modification, you've got Jane. She's extending straight, keeping her feet down, keeping them down as she comes up as well, twisting to both sides. Again, if your back is bothering you, don't even try to struggle through these reps, all right? You have to modify or you have to stop. If modifying doesn't get rid of it, maybe hit pause, do some light stretching, give yourself a little recovery before coming back in, or you might be done for the day. It might be too much for today. All right, last exercise.
My favorite.
Annie's personal favorite. It was Annie's birthday last week.
Yes, it was.
So she's gonna get going right away. She didn't really want to talk about it. But you're on your plank, walk over and push up. So that advanced full version we've got Annie doing here with both hands on the med ball every time she walks across. Again, very advanced. So do not do it if you are uncomfortable or you are fatigued. Alternate version, Jane is stepping over her med ball as if she was stepping onto it, going into that push-up.
Wow, that was quick. Time was quicker. I know.
Time flew by. All right, guys, so that's your third round. That's it. You should feel a whole lot of core and a little bit of upper body. And we thank you for watching.
Bye.
Good job, guys. You finished all 3 rounds. It definitely wasn't easy for them. It was easy for me to watch. I imagine it was not easy for you guys either. It was a lot of advanced core, but I hope that you were able to stay with us and maybe implement some of those modifications where you need. This would be a great video for you to come back to over time and kind of see your progression and see how you're doing, especially if you have any low back pain that's present. It can come from just some instability, right? It can come from a core weakness. It can come from maybe a flexibility or mobility issue too. We don't know, we can't see you, but if you experience low back pain, it's no way to live life. So you should definitely seek out help, whether you reach out to us personally or maybe a trainer that you're working with or someone who's local to you. But definitely find relief to that because there's a lot of things that can be done. You shouldn't live with low back pain. Reminder that you can check out in the description for the full workout written. You can also see the equipment that we use. We do have them linked down there. These are like the top of the line mats. They're our favorite. This is also Vanna White here. A med ball is a med ball. You can pretty much find them anywhere. Finding them in the weight that you want is always helpful, but we'll have links down below. And we once again beg and plead for you to subscribe, comment, and share because shameless begging is not above us. Yeah. All right, guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you at the next workout.